Hello and welcome. This is a reconstruction. I don't really have all the facts and I don't really know how this bike ended up to be like this. But this is what I think probably happened. This is a 1-year-old 2022 Royal Enfield Classic 350 Reborn, but it's in a very, very sad condition. It's been stolen, crashed many times by the look of it. It's been recovered at some point by the police, returned to the insurer who have sold it on to me, so I'm now the legal owner and it's no longer marked down as stolen, but it is a write-off. The insurance company wrote this off and hopefully wrote a nice cheque to the original owner. Now, superficially, it might look okay. But just take a look around. We got damage to pretty much everything. Everything is damaged. I don't know if it runs. I haven't even tried yet. But these J series engines are pretty tough. So I'm hoping there can be life in there. But just from the quick look I've had round, I don't think there's anything that's escaped damage. So a very, very sorry looking 1-year-old Classic 350 Reborn, written off, probably very close to being scrapped. But I think as long as the engine runs, we can get this going again. We'll do some special things with it. So let's get this back to the workshop and see if we can start it up. So, a bit of a challenge, but I think as long as we can get this running, we're going to turn this into a beautiful bike again. It really is pretty bad. Let's get it in the workshop. Let's have a thorough investigation. Let's try and get it running, because I haven't tried to get this running yet. So we'll see that both together, good or bad. And I'm really excited about this one. So let's get it going. Take a look at that. Right, let's get all the lights on, have a good look round, and make a big list of the damage. Oh, and try and start it. Yeah, that will do. Just before we start on our mammoth adventure, if you just stumbled across the channel, my name's Glyn Owen. I'm from Wales in the UK. And I love these Royal Enfields. So I've just finished a Meteor 350 and I'll put a link to that. And I'll probably talk about that quite a bit whilst we're doing this, because lots of it will be fresh in my mind. And really, they're kind of the same bike. So I'll be referencing that a lot. So if I keep saying that, sorry about that. And if you look at the previous series, probably some things will make more sense. Now this bike, I'm very excited about this bike. I don't know where it's going yet. But then I didn't know where the Meteor was going quite either until we dug into it. So I'm very interested in seeing where this one's going to go. So let's get a big bit of virtual paper and make a big list of the horrors that we're going to find on this. And then we're going to try and start it. Because I promise I have not tried to start this. I've charged it up. I've not even flicked the starter. I know it's not seized because it was in gear and I could turn the back wheel and I could feel the engine turn. That's what I know. So when we try this in a bit, I might need to get some fuel. We'll both be seeing it for the first time. But anyway, let's look at it. Here we go. Essentially, we've got a Royal Enfield Classic 350 Reborn 2022. Just a year old. Stolen, crashed, recovered. It's what in the UK is called a Category N write-off, which means non-structural. So basically the frame wasn't bent, and technically it could go on the road, but the value of all the broken parts far exceeds its value. So the original owner would have been given a check and the insurance company would just dispose of this to a buyer, which in this case was me. Obviously at a much reduced cost. But let's look around. Where shall we start? Let's start with the best bits. Now, this will be a horror. So, starting from the front right, obviously you've got missing mirrors, mildly damaged brake lever end. That brake lever is also bent. Stick that on the list. Handlebar end, not damaged. Let's look further on down. Tank is scratched on this side. No obvious dents. Header, what's going on there? I think it's got plastic or whatever it's crashed into burned on it. It doesn't feel damaged as such. All the fins are present. That's good. This panel scratched. Pretty much everything is scratched. Side panel dented. Metal. Dented, scratched. Swing arm end. Is that scratched? Quite possibly, or just filthy. Engine cases, right, important. Superficially, not damaged as such. Obviously we've got a massively bent brake lever. Now, has that damaged the engine case where it's... Yes. Look at that, look. Hear that? Where that brake lever's been shoved up into the engine case. That scratched it. But superficially, front of the cases, flip you upside down by the dentist. Don't think there's any holes. And there's oil in the sight glass to the correct level. Well, let's hope it's oil anyway. Ooh, nice alloy cap on these. Lower exhaust, heat shield, scratched, damaged. This has been bent up here, look. Foot peg. Foot peg's okay this side. Let's work our way along. Massively dented heat shield. Bit of corrosion to the exhaust underneath. Oh, and it's also loose. Probably because it's been crashed on it. What else have we got? Side frame, paint damage, bent handle, shocks. How are the shocks? Well, the shocks should be pretty protected inside there. I think, mercifully, they may have escaped damage. Rear brake caliper. Again, it's pretty well protected. If I try and spin the wheel, does the rear brake work? Yeah. Rear brake hydraulic circuit is good. Moving around, more missing paint, scratches. Look at this rear wheel. Obviously, I think they may have joyrided it in a gravel pit or something. But I don't think the wheel is buckled or bent. And appears to rotate. If we do our caliper check. No, caliper isn't seized. It's moving around the back. It's got a Royal Enfield genuine rack, but obviously massive scratches. Oh, dented. Nice big dent right there. It's like the only part they could reach, and it's already dented. How does that even end up so? Offside indicator. Scratched. But otherwise okay. Rear light broken. Let's move around this side. Near side indicator badly damaged. Rack badly damaged, not damaged, scratched. Again, swing arms escape damage, probably because the pillion hits the ground first. Pillion peg obviously missing its rubber. Paint damage. Again, the shock all protected though. And look at the damage on this handle. And that had a good slide down the road. That's not, it just fell over. That's like, that went for a long skid. Oh, seat damage. That doesn't scare me. As you might know from the Meteor series, we know all about seats. Big dents in the side case. Oh, nice chrome side stand on these. What's the chain like? But it's not good as that nice did one. Right, here's something I've already noticed. This foot peg, apart from being grossly damaged, this hanger is bent forward, look. So you've got the lower frame, which is a subframe, it's not structural. And this arm comes up. That's been bent. If I look down from above, this has been bent forward, so that needs correcting. Gear lever, obviously the foobar. But at the shaft seems well located without play. The gears seem to select So hopefully it's not too bad. Fins this side, all present. Excellent. Nice shiny top. It's weird because it's so like the Meteor, but it kind of isn't. Now, side case damage. Hard to tell why it's so dirty. But minor scratching. And I think, has that been caught it under there? Oh yeah, we've got a tiny scratch here, but nothing that can't be polished out. As much as I swore we wouldn't polish anything ever. So this side cover, metal, scratched of course. This side cover, scratched. Frame, that's okay. Everything pretty much present and correct. Although, have a look at this. They've obviously tried to disguise that it's a Royal Enfield so they wouldn't get caught by the police or whatever they were thinking, whatever mentality goes through their heads. So where they've done that, we've got a nice dent there now. So it's not just that they've removed the letters. We've got a dent here now. Fuel cap's been broken open, which saves me doing it. Have a look at that episode on the Meteor, not this. But not only, but also, if I rub my hand over there, we've got dents going on in the top of the tank as well. Look at these massive scratches. And I have no idea how this happens. Look at that. Worn through to the paint. I have no idea how that would happen. It's bizarre. What would you even be doing that would wear that through to the paint? I can't begin to imagine there. Pillion seat is good. That'll be going, obviously. Locks are broken open. Ignition lock's been removed. It's been hot wired. The bars have had a shunt because these little graduation marks are sticking out the side. So the whole handlebar has been pushed that way. Grip's damaged, that's a shame. Although I'd probably be putting bar end mirrors anyway, so still don't need them. Oh, the headlight, look at this. Ow, massively smashed in. Headlight's broken. Amazingly, the indicators have completely escaped any damage. Not even a mark. Both sides. So despite everything that's gone on, amazingly, the indicators have just completely escaped any damage. Got scratches on this. This is made of aluminium casting. The ring is missing as well. The ignition, that might be a big problem because I can't see it anywhere as an individual part. We'll probably just live without it though and make something up. Little tiger eyes are there. Now, if you're all thinking, oh, this is just a few bits and pieces, this will be all right now. Welcome to the big granddaddy of a problem. Handlebars straight. Let's fly over the top and look where the wheel's pointing. Or conversely, if I make the wheel straight and fly back, look where the handlebars are pointing. And that's because of this. So this bike has had a massive, massive whack to this front corner. And this fork leg, instead of continuing down here, it's very visibly bent backwards. So if I stand back, look at that angle of that fork. You can see that fork leg's been bent backwards, which has twisted the entire wheel assembly. So the wheel doesn't point forward anymore. You can see the fork behind it, straight, and this one is. Now, forks can be straightened. It's easy to replace, but it depends on cost. But until we get them off, we won't know how bad that is. But front wheel, otherwise, seems to run okay. Absolutely. But look at this massive, you can only imagine what twisting bang led to that whole assembly being pushed into the fork here and then bending the entire fork, because that doesn't go near the fork otherwise, unless possibly they hit a lamppost or something. That would be conceivable. So they've hit a lamppost right in here, that's made that, hit the fork, bent the fork backwards. Yeah, totally plausible, that. So this is the biggest, not the biggest challenge, apart from we don't know if it runs. This front end is the biggest problem. But apart from that, it's perfect. Also, I noticed, if you remember, I've talked about seized brake calipers before. The brake caliper is not seized, I don't think. No. Brake caliper not seized. So there we are. There's some light on the horizon. And this fork leg, if we run down there, that looks straight. It's just the other side, which is visibly bent backwards. So apart from that, brilliant. Pretty much everything you can point to is damaged. But there's a beautiful bike in there somewhere, and we're going to make it work again. Right, let's see if it starts. Now that silencer is loose, so if it does start, I'm not sure what it's going to sound like. So I've charged the battery and I'm just going to hot wire it just by twisting these together, and I've seen it light up before, so that is not a surprise to me. Amazingly, in 1 year It's done 7,269 miles. But everything else looks as it should. So this is happening at the same time for both of us. Hopefully there's enough fuel in it. Okay, it primes. We'll do it once more. Now it's bubbling, which is what my Meteor did when there wasn't quite enough fuel. So I'm just going to prime it again and hopefully... Right, let's do it. Oh, yes. That's a relief. Okay. Okay, you got no oil coming out the back. Got a little blow in the exhaust, but I was expecting that. That was quite an easy starter. A bit tappy. Doesn't sound tappety. Yeah, it is. Yeah, the tappets are quite noisy. Obviously, we'll be servicing that. Let's have another go. Nice clean exhaust. See if the gears engage. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, fourth, third, second, first, and neutral. Hey, we got a runner. Oh, look at his cool little lights. That's about the only lights that work on it. Oh, good horn. We got a runner. Brilliant. I'm not that surprised because they're really impressive engines and it would have taken a lot to have damaged it. But either way, that could have ended up being a really expensive garden ornament. And I'd had to explain that to my wife with many other things. but it runs. I don't care what happens now. Even if we have to build a whole new frame or a whole new bike, it doesn't matter. We've got a running engine. Bit tappety, but we know how to fix that. We'll do a proper service. We might even take the engine out of this one because I might want to paint it. What a relief. Let's start it again. I was going to turn the key there and bloody got one, is it? There we go. Whew, it begins. Let me have a quick mental run through. Both levers, headlight, ignition, mudguard, exhaust, covers damaged, frame paint, rear light, rear mudguard damaged, seat damaged, handles damaged, side frames damaged, pillion pegs damaged, side panels scratched, gear lever damaged, foot peg damaged, foot peg mount damaged, bar ends damaged, cowling damaged, forks damaged, bike filthy, fuel cap damaged, tank damaged. Hey, when you say it quick, it's not so bad. Rack damaged, don't want that anyway. I'm very optimistic now. Now what are we going to turn it into? There we go, all running. Oil does look a bit dirty. I just had a look at that and topped it up a little. So hopefully when it was stolen and ragged around, they didn't damage the engine. I don't think so. But before we really rip into it, I'm going to do the valve clearances just to check the engine does quieten down a bit, because it is quite tappy at the moment, and I'll sleep better knowing that that's all the problem is and it's not something else going on. But for today, what I'm going to do is get rid of this pillion seat, because the classic 350s always look much better with that gone. I'm going to get rid of that, and then we'll have a little think. There we go, the first bit has come off. As you can see, quite nasty damage to that. Still, I'll put it on eBay and list it honestly, and I'm sure that will help someone out. Just needs a bit of a rub down and paint. Feels a bit surreal to be wading into another bike and ripping the seat off after I spent so long building the Meteor. all so similar, yet so different. 17 up inside there, maybe? About to say that nut's probably about to drop off, and there it is. Actually, while we're here, let's drop the whole shock bar out and get rid of this bent handle. It should just pull out technically, but it's probably hooked up on the so not sure if I'm going to keep those. I'll have to bend it and re-straighten it. It's had a hell of a whack. Clang, like everything else. Let's just put that in a little way. Caught it that time. Jesus. Oops. Another nasty handle. Don't think that'll be good on eBay. Right, so the back is technically loose. I'm just going to pop that, slide that in a, because I don't want this to drop down, even though this is all dented anyway. Right, one bolt under the seat. To unthread that a bit. Even though technically it should just slide out. Here she comes. There we go. Now this should just lift out. And if your bike weren't a nasty old wreck like this, you would hopefully have taken a lot more care with that so that it didn't drag on top of your lovely paintwork. But as with many of my work, we are well past worrying about that when it's in this condition. So yeah, another subframe to join my subframe collection. Oh yeah, look at the beauty of it coming out now. Let's tidy up and have a look. Oh, it's so much nicer with that paint seat off. Beautiful. Oh, it's so shiny and mint under here. Shame about everywhere else. Hey, we're not going to worry about that. those nuts on. Wow. Before this damage, this must have looked absolutely beautiful, this bike. Really lovely paint. What a shame. Still, if it hadn't been for that, it wouldn't have come to me. So, thanks, I guess. Oh, I've just seen some more dents. What a life they must have given this when they stole it. Terrible. Let's stand back and have a look. And what do we think of this poor old thing? What are we going to do with this? There we go. I'm loving that look without the pillion seat. Another dent there. Then I've always made it no secret that I think the Classic 350 is probably the prettiest motorcycle ever made. It's absolutely beautiful. Obviously this one's not too beautiful at the moment, but it's going to be. And what are my thoughts? What's going to happen? Well, if you've seen the Meteor build, you know I'm quite a fan of hacking into things, changing them round, cutting, shortening, grinding, drilling. But really, I love this motorcycle so much. I love them. They're so pretty. I'm not feeling a desire to cut it up at all. I don't want to make some kind of bobber, because I've seen images of these turned into bobbers and it just looks like they've got no arse, as we'd say in the UK. I love this curve and the symmetry of that with the front. And the way the light unit is when it's all there. The frames. I don't want to shorten the exhaust like I did on the Meteor. The length, it's beautiful. So what am I going to do? Well, a bit like with the Meteor, I hadn't really galvanised an idea until I had the tyres. Once I had the tyres, everything fell into place. So I'm going to do the same with this. And I've ordered the tyres, haven't arrived yet. But it's going to satisfy another dream of mine, which is to have a bike with white wall tyres. So I've got some vintage style white wall tyres coming with a high aspect ratio, so they're going to be tall tyres. So it should go a bit faster. Tall vintage looking white wall tyres. And I think everything will follow from that. Once they're in place, they'll drive the aesthetic of the rest of the bike. I want to go for a really sort of vintagey looking bike. Yes, that's where I think it's going to go. So no big changes physically, although I might be planning a few surprises with the seat like last time. Maybe some tank experiments. Definitely got to paint this one. There isn't a painted thing on this bike that isn't damaged. I think these handlebars are bent actually as well. This feels low down. But then I've got the Meteor handlebars, could try them. And I'm not over the holes either. I'm sad to say. I'm not over the holes, so maybe some vintage style holes. Some kind of paint scheme. White wall tyres. Might black out the engine. That's aside from all the things that really need fixing, like the forks. But yeah, I hope the tyres arrive soon, and we'll have a think about that. We'll mock them up, and then we're going to start wading into this bike, because I hate looking at it like this with all its damaged parts. So I think our first step will be start taking it all apart and break it down to its core until we've got a core that, that is fine, and then we can work back out again. So yes, that's where we're going. So please like and subscribe if you'd like to. Come along for the journey, and we'll see where this ends up.